All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the channel. It's your boy, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about AEW Dynamite February 12th, 2025 review. My attitude about the show was real simple. It had some good stuff in it. There was some good wrestling. Actually, quite a bit of good wrestling, to be quite frank with you. Some I didn't care for all that much. Some decent storylines, especially with MJF and Hangman Page. Hangman Page or MJF had a great match with Dustin Rhodes. Those two had a fantastic matchup. The tag team titles were on the line against the Gun Club. And the Hurt Syndicate of Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin retained their tag team titles, of course. We had a 6-man Trios Championship match. The Trios Tag Team Champions, of course, retained their titles against Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. So they were unsuccessful in winning the 6-man tag team titles. Thanks to Willa Yuta getting the W for his team by a low blow because the referee was distracted putting away a chair. Funny how that works, huh? And not to mention, the Undisputed Kingdom went ahead and hit the Death Riders with everything they got. Couldn't put them away. But Wheeler Yuta's low blow to Kyle O'Reilly put it to a close. Good match, but ending not so much. What else do we have on the show? Roderick Strong Swerve Strickland is heavily set on Ricochet and getting revenge on him. Harley Cameron is very focused and confident in her abilities to win the TBS Women's Championship. I highly doubt that's going to happen against Mercedes Moné. I highly doubt that will be. They had her thank Mercedes Moné for making the women's division better. Can you believe that bullshit? I mean, I can. Nothing like kissing a little ass, right? Right. The Rated R superstar Adam Copeland, or Cope, whatever the fuck you want to do. Sounds like a lot of AEW fans seem to cope with this shitty ass show. Granted, this was not a terrible show comparison to the majority of shows we've seen this year so far. But still, there's a lot of work to be done. Still, what's the deal with the Death Riders? What is their purpose? What are they trying to accomplish? I don't get this faction. To me, it just seems like a bunch of thugs just beating the shit out of a bunch of AEW wrestlers. But anyway, I keep saying Roderick Strong. Why am I saying Roderick Strong? It's like on the tip of my tongue every fucking time I've talked in the last 2-3 minutes of this video. But no, Copeland and Jay White stole the AEW World Championship from the briefcase, told the Death Riders if they want the damn belt back, they're going to have to grant him his World Championship opportunity at Revolution, or otherwise he's going to reveal the title out of the briefcase, and that'll be it. Later on in the show, that's exactly what happened. Jon Moxley granted him his Revolution title match in March, on March 9th. I don't know if I'm going to be actually buying this pay-per-view. It's going to depend on financial situations. But I'm not quite sure if I'm going to buy it or not. All depends on how I'm doing financially. But personally, I don't know if I really want to buy it because they have not put a ton of effort in it. The only real reason why I'd buy it is so that I can do this review for you guys. If I don't buy it, I can't exactly do the review on the day of. I'd have to do it the day after, in which case this event's taking place on a Sunday, not a Saturday. So I won't be able to watch it on Sunday. I'd have to watch it on Monday. So I'd give you guys the review on Monday, and then I'd review Raw on Tuesday night after I watched Raw. So I wouldn't be watching Raw the same day as the event happens, which is fine because I can always be able to skip through commercials, watch specifically what happens on the show, and that's fine and dandy for me. I don't have an issue doing that. Besides, most of the time I do the reviews on Tuesday nights anyway. But yes, I will be either watching the show live, give you guys the review on Monday night before Raw goes on the air, or I may end up just doing this on watching the show on Monday and then giving you guys the review on Monday night. Later on, the same time that Raw ends, I will be uploading that video for the AEW Revolution pay-per-view. So that's my one of two options I can do. Granted, you still will get your Monday Night Raw reviews. SmackDown, a little bit hard for me to do. Like I said, I'm not going to be in town. I'm going to be out of town for Valentine's Day in Orlando. So I won't be able to have access to watch SmackDown, nor do I care to watch SmackDown. It's Valentine's Day. I'm spending time with my wife. Fuck wrestling, honestly. But yeah, I think that AEW is a fair show, but granted, again, what is the purpose behind this fucking group, the Death Riders? I still don't get their purpose, their rhyme and reason, and what they're trying to accomplish. They have the fucking title hostage inside of a fucking briefcase where we don't even acknowledge the world title even exists. Might as well pretend that the world title is vacated at this point. It comes across very strange and weird that Jon Moxley needs to hide the title from everyone. I guess he explained it about a couple of weeks to a month ago, saying, oh, well, you guys don't need to see the championship. We know it's there. Only I need to see it. Or some kind of shit like that. Very odd, very strange. Copeland gets his fucking title opportunity, and Jon Moxley tells him that he cares so much about the AEW World title, he doesn't want him to go ahead and end up doing something to the briefcase with the championship in it. So he says, I will be merciful and give you your championship opportunity, but during this match, I will break your neck. Sounds very merciful to me, I guess. Well, I mean, unless you're into killing people and they are okay with it, I guess you're being very merciful. I don't know. Sounds a little fucking ass backwards to me, but whatever. Anyway, moving on from that, Copeland says, okay, well, now that I got what I wanted, I'm going to show you how much I care about the AEW World Championship. And he starts to smash the briefcase with the world title in it with a 2x4 with spikes attached to it. Like Barbie or, but he calls that 2x4 with spikes called Spike. Calls the weapon Spike. And he decides to start smashing the briefcase in and so forth. Eventually, Jay White tries to help him out with keeping them from getting the briefcase. At the end of the day, they still end up getting the briefcase anyway. Copeland still stands tall, though, in the middle of the ring by spearing everybody from the Death Riders except for Sharina Shafir. and she holds on to the world championship and so forth. So they never got a hold of the title, but Adam Copeland stood tall in the middle of the ring as the show went off the air. Chris Statlander had a match with Penelope Ford. I don't know what's happened with Penelope Ford, but apparently she's turned bisexual on us, for all we know. She was licking her, trying to kiss her in the middle of the match. Don't know if we were watching a hot lesbian action or we were just watching a woman trying to display her affection towards another woman. I don't know. It seemed very odd and very strange. Chris Statlander, of course, wins the match. There was another match before that, which I can't fucking remember off the top of my head. I'm just kind of going all over the place here. I'm not really following it a specific order of how this went. Let me see here. Megan Bain had a match before the Chris Statlander match, and she was victorious in a fucking enhancement talent that she ends up beating. MJF had a great match with Dustin Rhodes. As I mentioned, he ends up winning the match with no commercials during this match. Dustin Rhodes, I gotta say, for a guy his age, he definitely showed out that he is definitely the guy in AEW. I mean, he's definitely one of a kind. A guy that never seems to lose his touch. He seems to be better now than he did back when he was Goldust, honestly. Chris Jericho. Jericho had a standoff with Bandino, as if we were in the West. Yes, we were watching a Western movie, two guys wearing cowboy hats, having their backs towards each other, and then walking about 5 to 10 steps away from each other to turn around. Eventually, this led to Bandino getting attacked by Brian Mitchell and Big Bill. Big Bill grabs Bandino and goes for the chokeslam, but the music of Powerhouse Hobbs hits as he makes his way to the ring, and Hobbs nails Bill as Bandino kicks Bill, allowing Bill to be picked up and dropped down on his back with a big spine buster by Will Hobbs. So that's what occurred there. I don't understand what the fucking deal is with Bandino, but whatever. We had Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata in a trios tag team match against Enhancement Talent. And apparently, we're going to have the patriarchy of Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, and Kip Sabian in a match next week. I don't seem to give a flying fuck. Because I don't. And apparently, they only have an answer through violence when they can't answer a question or some shit they said. Again, as you can tell, there was some exciting content on this show tonight, but still this show feels like crap. I don't care about what I'm watching here. The wrestling is good, yes. The storylines are being a little bit more looked upon and actually being elevated. We're actually getting somewhere a little bit here and there, but nothing to the level of what AEW has done in the past. When they had a pay-per-view coming up, they were focused on the storylines building up towards those pay-per-views. Now, granted, they only had 4 pay-per-views, which that seemed a lot harder to do honestly, to fill in 3 months worth of build going into a pay-per-view. They're doing month-to-month pay-per-view shows, and yet they can't give us storyline driven for 4 weeks for matches to be built correctly. Now, granted, you guys will come at me. I'm starting to get some AEW sickos out there commentating on my takes on these reviews for the last couple of weeks. I get like 1-2 people saying something about how my critique sucks and I'm just a WWE dick rider. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, folks, if you go back and look at my content from back in the day, from like 2018, 2019, hell, even 2017 and 16, you'll notice that I didn't review anything revolving around WWE, Raw, and SmackDown outside of NXT. And when I did cover Raw or SmackDown, I fucking shit all over it. Worse than what I do here on AEW, to be quite frank with you. So if any of you AEW diehards or sickos, as you would want to be called, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm a lot harder on WWE back when they sucked compared to what I am right now with AEW. And that's because AEW is not as far into the toilet yet compared to what WWE was under creative control of Vince McMahon. Now, don't get me wrong. Triple H doesn't always do it correctly. Sometimes the shows are fucking boring. SmackDown is a boring show from time to time. Last week's SmackDown, for me, it was entertaining, it was digestible, and so forth. But it's still too fucking long for 3 hours. I don't think he's putting enough effort into it. I don't think he wants to. He even mentioned that at some point they're going to put it back to 2 hours. I honestly think that's going to occur after WrestleMania. I think they're only doing that for leaving an extra hour for them to build towards WrestleMania storylines on SmackDown, and that's really the only reason why that's taking place for right now. But until then, we got 3-hour SmackDowns that sometimes can bore the living shit out of us. Raw, on the other hand, is not. They close the gap on that third hour and make it only 30 minutes, which I'm fine with. But at the end of the day, guys, AEW's not doing what they used to do. They used to be very successful at what they did, and now they're shit. I'm just not keen on it. I'm not okay with it. I don't find it entertaining whatsoever. Let's see. What else did I miss? Oh, yeah. Max Caster had an open challenge. He's talking shit about Anthony Bowens and Billy Gunn. And Hangman Page takes him up on his challenge, of course, and beats his ass in less than 5 minutes, making Max Caster look like a fucking enhancement talent. Beats him with the buckshot lariat and gets the 1, 2, 3. Great. Good stuff. I don't know, man. I really don't. This is just... I mean, we got some good story being told with MJF and Hangman Page. I'm very, very happy with what they did there with them. MJF and Hangman Page had a very nice confrontation backstage when Renee Paquette interviewed MJF. Hangman was like, hey, you're cutting it, it's my turn for interview time, promo time, what have you. And MJF just fucking buried Hangman Page. I mean, literally buried him in this promo. Let me see if I can find it through all this shit. Here we go. So the backstage with Renee Paquette talking to MJF about his match, about his match with Dustin Rhodes. MJF says Texas is not a real state, and Dustin is not a real man. Oh, God. Hangman Page comes in, and then MJF asks him if he has a crush on him and if Jack Daniels makes a cologne now. Fucking loved it. MJF then tells Hangman he's a joke and the fans actually believe in him. MJF says tonight he's going to beat Dustin and do what Hangman has failed to do, become a 2-time World Heavyweight Champion. He's also mentions about how Hangman is always confused and doesn't know what to do and second guessing himself while he is confident in his abilities and everything else, and that he is sorry and so forth. And at the end of the day, MJF believes the fans he deserves an apology from the fans for the way they treated him when he was gone with injury. I was one of the people that was not happy with having MJF gone, but he was injured. And I missed the fuck out of the dude, and I'm glad he's back. He's been producing some really good content. What's been given to him, he's working with some elderly guys. Dustin Rhodes, though, love the fucking match once again. I will say the match was great. Dustin Rhodes is an amazing talent for a guy his age, and like I said earlier, he's better now than he was when he was Goldust. Straight up. I've never seen this man have such good matches like I've seen him have the few times I've seen him on television over the course of the last 5 years that AEW has been in existence. His match with Cody Rhodes on Double or Nothing in their first ever event was fantastic. Amazing matchup between the two. I thought it was great stuff. And every time he's on television, he produces a good match. The guy deserves all the kudos in the world, and it's a shame that at this point in time in his career, him being as old as he is, he's gotten this good, and he wasn't as good back when he was younger as he is now. It absolutely sucks to say that, because back when he was Goldust, except for the mid-90s, I say, and then when he was in that IC championship run, I'd say his career outside of that was shit. I did not like his work in WWE. I thought it sucked. TNA, he was a good hardcore specialist, but other than that, he wasn't all that big of a deal either. He went under the name Black Rain. He faced Abyss in some hardcore matches that were memorable back in, I think, 2007 and early 2008. So that's some good stuff to go back and watch if you have TNA Plus. But, yeah. Again, like I said, show wasn't bad, but it still needs a ton of work. There's just so much stuff on the show that just, to me, as a viewer, I just don't see the consistency. I don't see some, storylines that make sense to me. And it just kills my interest in the show altogether. And I just don't care. I really don't. And it's sad that I feel that way, because I'll be the first one to tell you I was a huge fan of AEW, have been. And deep down I still am, or I wouldn't be reviewing this content. But they got to do something quick and make the shows a little bit better. I mean, granted, the last 2 weeks, not bad, but still, these storylines mean absolutely fucking nothing to me. Most of them, anyway. But that's all I have to say at this time. If you enjoyed the review, by all means, go ahead, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And leave a comment down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great night, guys. Bye.